What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here on the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Ladies, Leans, Likes, and Likes MLB edition. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great betting content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. I won an MLB bet in the morning. The weather gods tried to come in. They tried to tarnish it. Shohei Ohtani only goes 2 innings, and I have to sweat the Angels bullpen the rest of the way. But you know what? We got a W across in the morning. That's more W's than I've gotten across in the morning in the last couple. So I had to adjust my armchair. There it is. I'm feeling good about everything here. Baseball just getting going here for the nightcap. A couple games that got rained out. We've got some weather that might make some things a little skittish tomorrow too. But 17 games with 2 doubleheaders underway. We're going to start with those doubleheaders for sure. Well, partially because time-wise, that's how it works out. But how it works out at Bet365, you have 4 states: Colorado, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia. That's 4. You sign up at one of those 4 states. If you are in one of those 4 states, in the link below, you can get $200 in bet credits just by betting $1 on anything. Yes, you deposit $10 or more. You bet $1 on anything and you get $200 in bet credits. That's great. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but no time to really dilly-dally here at the top of the show. I'm excited again. We got a win across. NBA's interesting. Phillies down right now. That's going to be a fun one to be paying attention to here at halftime. But suppose I should probably record this so I can go watch that. Let's get to the picks, shall we? We start off with the Cleveland and Detroit doubleheader. They had a San Francisco game rained out on Sunday. Monday, they have Cleveland, Detroit. And now we're looking at 2 of them. And we have the exact same matchup as it's assumed to be right now in the first one. But no lines available because you can definitely change who your starter is multiple times. And we haven't had a doubleheader yet, so let's kind of explain how I go about this. 1, I pay very close attention to what those starting lineups are going to be in the first game. You might be able to guess a couple of pieces that are going to change in between, and it's only a small little bit of edge. But it's something that I'm definitely going to be bringing up in the premium Discord. If you want to sign up below, promo code Lindy gets you half off that first week. But I'm going to pay very close attention to see what happens with these lineups. Maybe we can find a little bit of an edge. There's a certain handedness that might be coming up. But just as a refresher, we have Hunter Gaddis, Matthew Boyd. I'm assuming, as of right now, that it's still going to be the same section of guys. I'm still going to be leaning to the Detroit side. I gave all the analysis for that Sunday night going into Monday slate. Same thing applies here Monday night going into Tuesday's slate. Gaddis has been much better than what his ERA would indicate. Matthew Boyd been getting lucky. Lots of walks. Ks are still down compared to what they were in days of yore. Detroit money line, though, I have to be going that direction simply because I don't trust Gaddis whatsoever. And I think Boyd can do just enough here. Cleveland's lineup, pretty unappealing to me overall. You have the obvious Jose Ramirez. You have the obvious Steven Kwan. Josh Naylor's needs to just start joining the party. But lots of guys who aren't hitting the ball hard outside of Josh Bell and Ahmed Rosario. So Detroit money line, still a lean. Need to see the lineups, need to see the lines. Game 2. These are the assumed starters that I am seeing on Fangraphs, that I'm seeing on Baseball Savant. So we're going to go with it for now, but know that it is subject to change. There are no lines available for it, but love is a Battenfield. Yeah, that's Peyton Battenfield. Eduardo Rodriguez there for the Tigers. For Battenfield, I had to go through a bunch of AAA numbers, and 9th round pick out of Oklahoma State. Must be fun. He's only 25. We haven't seen a whole lot of him, but he's a 6'4 guy. Doesn't throw with a crazy amount of velocity like I was expecting to maybe see for him in this first couple. But yeah, we got to get some information from him. Primarily throws a cutter. It sits around 88, 92 on the 4-seamer. So although he has a big frame, not a big arm in terms of velocity. Curious to see how he ends up playing out in the bigs. On the other side of this one, looking at Eduardo Rodriguez. We've seen him forever. Erod, days of yore, Boston Red Sox. Kind of doing the same thing he did last year where the hard hits are coming down. That's great to see. BABIP is starting to recalibrate to normal, but a 4.28 expected ERA, not all that appealing. So I'm actually looking at the Cleveland side on this one, assuming that we get something close to what their typical lineup's going to be with a lot of righties coming in against Southpaw Eduardo Rodriguez. So I'm going to be backing Battenfield. It's a cool name. That's terrible analysis. Cleveland money line. I'm just going to be simply leaning that direction. If you want to know if I end up having a play for this game, as always, hit me up on Twitter at Eric Lindquist or hit me up in the comment section below. Always watching, always looking, happy to help. Part 2, the sequel. We have another doubleheader here. We got the Phillies, we've got the White Sox, and in this first game, you're looking at the exact same pitchers we talked about yesterday. Yes, same exact guys, Zach Wheeler, Lance Lynn. I lean towards the under. That has not changed in any way, shape, or form. Again, feels weird to be giving you the exact same analysis, but I know a lot of you are new here. You didn't watch Monday's episode, so again, happy to have that. Hit that like button while you're at it. Zach Wheeler, been awesome, as you would expect. 280 expected slugging, 269 xWOBA. A couple of times it wasn't showing up in the box score. I don't really care about the box score. 4.02 ERA, but a 2.90 expected ERA. That means he's pitching well. 96, 97 on the fastball, per usual. He's going to be one of the best arms in baseball, just is what it is. And Lance Lynn on the other side, went completely nuts against the Minnesota Twins, my Minnesota Twins. But again, that Twins lineup is a little bit decimated at the moment. Not a lot of lefty power like you might have hoped for coming into this season. Carlos Correa is back in action. That's a plus. You got, Miranda. You got a couple of other pieces that are all right there, but you don't have certain lefties that it would make life a lot easier. If you were to have Luis Arraez back in that lineup, or literally any lefty power, is what it is. Under 7.5. Still going to get the like play, assuming, because that's what game 1 shows, what we're getting, Zach Wheeler versus Lance Lynn, if that's going to be the case, and I assume it is, under 7.5. And then game 2. Yeah, let's jump on over to game 2, shall we? A little bit different situation. If my spreadsheet would update, that would be awesome. Is it going to update for me? We're going to find out in 2 seconds. See, this is the best part about doing this live. F it, we'll do it live. Here you go. Bailey Falter and Lucas Giolito. Talked about these guys a couple of times, but Bailey Falter, not all that appealing of an arm to me. Just a 14.5% K rate, 52 batted balls in play, 288 expected batting average. Nothing exciting there outside of the fact that he doesn't beat himself with walks. And how about Lucas Giolito? Another guy that if you look at the box score, it's not going to enthrall you with the 6 ERA. But he's got a 3.72 expected ERA, and he is limiting the rock hard contact, which is a weird way of saying that, but a 117.4 max exit velocity last year. That was one of the worst marks. So when he was getting hit, it was going long and far. It's down to 106.9 miles per hour this season. That is a drastic improvement. In fact, that would be the best number of his entire major league career, going back to 2016 when he was a wee lad. He was a 21-year-old out there slinging it, actually getting blown up when he was 21. Then he turned into a Cy Young contender, and then last year happened. It was not good. But I think Lucas Giolito has some really good signs. So I'm going to be leaning the White Sox money line here. Got to see the lineups. Got to be paying attention to that. That's going to be what I do. I pay attention to the game 1 lineups, make some positive assumptions if I can on what I think is going to happen for the game 2 lineups, project it out, and then we figure out where we want to go. But as it stands right now, Giolito, definitely the pitcher I'm more interested in at these respective numbers. We're going to Miami. Oh, my himo, ami. Yeah, we're going there. Edward Cabrera. Apologize. Eduardo. Edward Cabrera on the hill there from Miami. Alex Wood on the other side, southpaw. Once upon a time with the Dodgers, now with the San Francisco Giants here for a couple of years, and he just kind of does what he does. He's not going to be striking out anybody at this point in his career. High point for him was 26% in 2 respective different years. He's down to 21.1% in the early stages of this year. Awesome results with a 1.17 ERA, but it's been a very, very, very lucky stretch for him. A 4.83 expected ERA. Opponents seem to be tuning him up really, really hard. It's just been a little bit lower than you might expect. And then the launch angle has actually been up. 18.6 degree average launch angle. Eventually, when you have max exit velocity of 116.5 miles per hour, you're going to see balls leave the ballpark. And I know Miami, not exactly the most appealing team to be getting, but I'm going to like them more against some of these lefties because I think at least some of the pieces that I find to be serviceable from Miami happen to be from the right side. Luis Arraez is good against both sides, so we'll just get that out of the way. Mr. Cycle himself. You have, whether it's Jazz Chisholm, he's going to be better against righties, but otherwise it's Jorge Soler. He's your power there. Gene Segura, he's had a really brutal stretch to the beginning of the season. Garrett Cooper, Fines Trooper. I didn't like that one either. Miami plus 1.5. That's where I'm going to be leaning. Next game, and a line that we're waiting on because I don't know what's going to happen with Tampa. And I will say there are a number of ways that they could end up having this starter end up starting. Another weird way of saying it. I promise I'm going to improve as we go along. It's been a long day, if you couldn't tell. But Mr. Taj Bradley, everybody was picking him up in year long. He was the fob guy. And then it sounds as though he got sent back to AAA, and there wasn't a clear indication on whether he was going to be starting here on Tuesday. And that's why the books have nothing out here yet. I think he starts. So I'm going to break it down as though Taj Bradley is out there pitching. He comes from AAA Durham. He's a young arm who came out and struck out 8 his first time out of the gate against Boston. Did give up 3 earned, but in 78 pitches with 8 Ks, I mean, you know, he's got some nasty stuff. So just throwing it out there. Taj Bradley against Cincinnati. One problem being that he's a righty facing Cincinnati, where all of their serviceable bats, all the guys you want to be fading, whether it's Fraley or Friedel, they're all from the left side. So you're looking at that. You got to pay attention. Spencer Steer was out of the lineup here on Monday. I'm going to be paying attention to his status, but Jonathan India, Will Myers, Stevenson at the catcher position. We kind of know what we're getting with Cincinnati. They're going to be serviceable against a lot of these righties going forward, even these right-handed bats that I just listed off. So paying attention to that, but this all comes down to Nick Lodolo for me. He was my pick to win the Cy Young. Yeah, deep Cy Young flyer there in Cincinnati, and he's just come out and spun it early. I swear, his curveball looks like Chris Sale to me. I know that's a little bit of high praise, and not the Chris Sale that I'm going to break down today in 2023. I'm talking about the Chris Sale of Chicago White Sox Chris Sale, beginning of his Red Sox tenure Chris Sale. This guy has a 28.6% hard hit percentage. He's avoiding hard contact, which you need to do in Great American Small Park. He has a 36% K rate and just an 8% walk rate, which is just fantastic across the board. I have no holes in his pitching arsenal. The only bad thing is you're going to see inflated numbers because he's pitching in Cincinnati, and you're going to see no run support. So maybe in the box score for all the baseball writers of America who still care about stuff that doesn't matter, not advanced analytics people, it's going to be problematic for him to perhaps win this thing. But deep flyer, 65-1. I feel pretty good about it. So I'm going to lean the K ladder. Yeah, same thing I did with Jacob deGrom. And let me just say, I fired up the Jacob deGrom one. I saw he only had 3 Ks then through the first couple. Oh, he just came out of the game. I don't know what happened. Did he get hurt? Do I have to find out about this crap live on air? This sucks. Nick Lodolo, Ks up to 9. Fire it up. It's just pain. Let's talk about happier things, shall we? Put a smile on my face. Put a smile on that face. It's a bad joker. I have 3 locks, though, on the day, and this is one of them, and I can't remember a time that I had 3 locks on the board where they projected out this well, but such is life, and that's going to be what happens when you get the Angels coming off of their kegs and eggs morning that they had for Patriots Day in Boston. Thank God we got a W there with the Angels, one-time dealer. Jose Suarez on the mound. He's terrible. Lefty is just terrible. And Clark Schmidt on the other side. He's terrible. I don't really know what to say. Now, Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon got the day off on Monday. Do they rest Shohei Ohtani? He only had to pitch 2 innings. I know that still meant they had to go through his routine and ramp up and do whatever else, but it seems as though he'll be in the lineup here. And if he is, oh my goodness, I could not love an over more in a million years. So far this season, Jose Suarez going up against the Yankees, you got a 310 expected batting average, a 13.3% K rate, avoiding no bats. And you need to avoid bats when they're attached to the arms of New York Yankees hitters like DJ LeMahieu with his 64.5% hard hit percentage, Aaron Judge with his 62.9% hard hit percentage. All of these are just ridiculous numbers. And Franchi Cordero left on left. What is going on with this dude? He only has a 33.3% hard hit percentage, but I feel like every time my phone blows up, it's a home run alert. Franchi Cordero. What's going on? I don't know. Anthony Rizzo also murdering the baseball. I know it'll be left on left, but I don't really care. And Clark Schmidt is just terrible. A 59.5% hard hit percentage, 437 xWOBA. The only thing he has going for him is he's a right-handed pitcher going up against the Angels, whereas the Angels are going to be one of the best teams in baseball against lefties. So just, put that in your back pocket. But over of 9, it's minus 105 right now. phenomenal value. I've got it north of 10, and yeah, there's nothing that's going to stop me from firing this one up. Over 9, first of 3 locks, fired up in bulk. To Washington we go, and not the most appealing pitching spot. That is for, that's an understatement. We got Dean Kramer. Yeah, Dean Kramer. Told you he was bad. Just another bad Baltimore Orioles starter. Who'd have thunk it? Oh, yeah, me. Dean Kramer, 695 expected slugging, 314 expected batting average, just a 13.8% K rate with a north of 10% walk rate. Oh, boy, dude. Get this team some starting pitching. It is just getting nauseating. Glad my Twins got Pablo Lopez and he didn't go to Baltimore, that's for sure. But Josiah Gray on the other side, I think this line's a little bit off, and I'm starting to talk myself away from the lean that I have written down and more into the light category. I don't want to have too much volume. Again, this will be like a half unit type play as well. Nothing's going to be just jammed outside of, a couple of the locks here on this show. But Josiah Gray, he's found ways to really limit hard contact, 30.8% hard hit percentage, the exit velocity off the bat averaging 84.1 miles per hour. That is an elite kind of number, and it's closer to the ground, 7.4 degree average launch angle, along with an 18% K rate that I expect to positively regress. We broke him down when we went into Colorado, tried to pick on his curveball for a quick second, and that cutter has come way down in terms of vertical movement, but it doesn't matter because he's just primarily gone to a slider curveball mix. Pretty wild to see the usage spike up this hard after last season when he was primarily a fastball slider curveball guy. That fastball usage is sub 20% right now. And that makes me a little bit excited because if he's locating that slider curveball, always better to have the thing moving, a little bit of that for batters, especially a decent lineup here like Baltimore. So might even be looking at Washington money line here as disturbing and disgusting and as horrible as that sounds. But right now, Washington on the run line, plus 1.5. Give me the run and a half here at minus 135. You were looking for a parlay piece? I think this is a decent parlay piece. I know the public won't be here because it has Washington's name, but I do not care. I'm here to make money eventually when, Jacob deGrom doesn't get hurt. Still tilted. Washington plus 1.5. We continue on. My Minnesota Twins are up next here taking on Boston. And we got 2 pitchers on the mound, one who's been pitching great this year and one who's like a legend, but has been really bad. Sonny Gray, my dude. Minnesota Twins just out there spinning it. 202 expected batting average, almost a 30% K rate, 27.9% of the season. Walks are a little high, north of 10%, but everything else across the board looks fantastic. And I'm not all that enthusiastic about this Boston Red Sox lineup without Adam Duvall. I know Yoshida, you get some of those lefties in there, but everybody looks at pesky pull on right side in Fenway, but it's actually really deep to like middle right, and it plays a little bit tougher for lefty power than you think. Don't let David Ortiz and all of his massive bombs he hit there confuse you. And yes, as a Minnesota Twins fan, that's a sore subject because I loved that man. Oh, such is life. But Chris Sale, a lot of people in Boston loved him originally. I think they've soured on him a little bit, that's for sure. It's been tough. An 11.25 ERA will do that to you. 229 pitches, 37 batted balls, the barrel rate through the roof with 5 barrel balls, 13.5% is high. 6.85 expected ERA. This is by far his worst start in his Major League Baseball career. I don't know what to make of it. I look at the slider, I look at the fastball. It looks about the same. I mean, the velocity's gone down for sure. It's gone down a tick and a half. So throwing that out there for the four-seamer, that's problematic. But generally speaking, it looks as though the spin rate's down as well. Maybe this is a sticky stuff situation where because he was hurt, he didn't have to make as many adjustments. He was pitching just for the hell of it towards the end of last year. But yeah, I don't know what to make of Chris Sale right now. It's a pretty tough situation. And the one reason that I think I'm going to end up backing him here is this Minnesota lineup. I don't really like it at the moment, and it's my team. I should be more optimistic, but that's not really the nature of a Minnesota sports fan and not the nature of somebody who's trying to do this seriously because, you got to be just brutally honest about things. Michael A. Taylor's had some bailout games. Byron Buxton's been good, but not elite in terms of the hard hit. 41.9%. That's actually, amongst elite players, not going to be the highest mark. That's for sure. and a 40% K rate to go with it for him, for Trevor Larnach, who's going to be muted left on left, Carlos Correa north of 26%. I mean, we've got the Julian character who we're just learning a little bit about. He'll be batting up in the order here for sure. Christian Vasquez, he's been still hitting the ball hard. One of the better hitting catchers once upon a time coming from Boston. Does he have revenge in his heart? We'll find out. And Jose Miranda, just kind of lackluster compared to what we might have been expecting after his torrid pace at the end of last year. So I think this is a good spot to possibly back an under for both of them. I think Sony definitely succeeds. I think Chris Sale can get by just enough here on Tuesday. Yeah, did they have to use Crawford when they probably weren't anticipating after Bayo got ripped up and then you had the rain delay on Monday? Sure, but I think this is still a spot where an under is going to project out nice for me. Under 9, I like it. I also like this. This is a fantastic offer. Attention if you're in one of these 4 states: New Jersey, Virginia, Ohio, Colorado. Why? Well, because you're going to get $200 in bonus bets when you sign up at Bet365 in the link below right now. All you do is you sign up, takes you all of about 2 minutes, you deposit $10, and you bet one of them, just one of them. You're going to get $200 in bonus bets. It does not get better than that. You want to take advantage of it. It's as good as it gets. So, bet one, get $200 in bonus bets at Colorado, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia. Congratulations to those 4 states. Only available there. Sounds like Iowa's on the horizon. Going to be very, very soon. Pennsylvania next. Sounds like it's going to be coming. So take advantage of this offer now. It's only if you're 21 and over. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Alrighty, y'all. Back to the picks. We're going to pick up a little bit of time here. Texas and Kansas City. And yeah, Nathan Eovaldi, been pretty serviceable. Been getting back to what he does, throwing with velocity, 28% K rate, 295 xWOBA. Across the board, looks all right. Giving up a little bit of hard hits, and that's kind of the problem. And same thing with Brad Keller, but he's found better ways of muting that. 23.2% K rate, still 11.6% walk rate. You could say negative regression could be on the onset. I wouldn't be surprised by that in any way, shape, or form, considering the 2.12 ERA and 3.80 expected ERA. Definitely due for a little bit of regression, but yeah, this whole game doesn't really stand out to me in any way, shape, or form. I would be leaning the under of 9, 8.5. And it kind of sits at both of those numbers here right now, depending on what book you look at. I'm going to call it the under of 9. I know it's 8.5 here listed because, well, that's the primary number that's at a couple of places. But BetMGM hung up a 9. You had another 9 somewhere else. So under 9 is where I'd lean, but I do not want to bet this game. Think to stay away until we get a little bit larger sample size from Brad Keller and see if there's actually some improvement from last year. To Arizona and St. Louis, one pitcher that I do not know what to make of, and the other one, well, Jordan Montgomery should have been wearing pinstripes last year. I think New York would be singing a little different tune this year, coming off of a World Series victory, perhaps. Weird that I would have had them win rather than Houston. What a time to be alive. It sucks being a Twins fan. But Jordan Montgomery, really, really good stuff. 342 expected slugging, 226 expected batting average. He's going to get hit up a little bit by righties, but if you can avoid Evan Longoria, who's been really, really good to start off this season with a 54.5% hard hit percentage, 548 expected slugging. We know his prowess against lefties. I think you got a pretty clear path. You're neutralizing Pavin Smith, who can't be in that lineup left on left. Kendall Marte, better from the left side. You've got Lourdes Gurriel, who's really kind of trying to find his footing, even though the hard hit numbers look pretty decent. I think he's got some positive regression. And then Christian Walker, who's just been down this year after a great season last year. Just a 27.1% hard hit percentage, 348 expected slugging. If Arizona's going to do anything, and I don't expect them to in the NL West, nor should you, they would need Christian Walker to really, really rebound in a prominent way. Start joining, Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas, who, again, neutralized lefties going up against Montgomery. Dre Jameson, though, is the pitcher that I don't know what to do with. He ends up getting called back up to be the 5th starter here as they're waiting for a couple of other guys to get healthier there in Arizona. He's been okay, but not really going to be going that deep into this game. He's had less than 60 pitches in a couple of these starts of late. He had more than 60 pitches his first start out of the gate, but just a 48.4% hard hit percentage. That's not good. 25% K rate. That looks decent enough. I just don't know if he's going to pitch that far into this one. And Arizona's a bullpen. Not exactly ideal. The nice thing is that he is right-handed. If you can get by Gorman, you can get by some of these lefties that are definitely improved to the St. Louis lineup. You should be able to find a little bit of success. You avoid being a lefty up against Goldschmidt, O'Neill, and that Nolan Arenado fellow. He's okay too. So just throwing it out there, be paying attention, but I don't think Dre Jamison going to be going that far. Look for some kind of a pitch count on it, and it kind of is what it is. Not really that appealing of a spot, though, at this number. St. Louis money line, if I had to do something, but minus 165, bullpen spots, it's more of a stay away for me. Toronto and Houston coming up here next, and one pitcher you expected in Chris Bassett for Toronto to be a little bit better than of late, and Jose Urquidy. I mean, this is like Freaky Friday on a Tuesday, where he's been the better pitcher of the two so far this season. Bassett, a 414 xWOBA is just a gigantic number. 586 expected slugging, and the strikeouts are down 17%. The walk rate is up 11%. I don't know is he trying right now? I know it's early. I'm ringing a couple of alarm bells, though, here for Bassett against Houston. Might be looking at some Kyle Tucker. Might be looking at a lot of Kyle Tucker. God, he's just been so good again. Jose Urquidy, though, on the other side, 290 xWOBA, 364 expected slugging. You're never going to get the strikeouts with him, but there's a reason that he's been a back-end starter for this Houston team for what feels like forever. Even though he's just 28, I feel like he's legitimately been there forever. Another guy who's thrown a sweeper into the mix and really kind of changed up his arsenal. There's a couple of pitchers throughout baseball that just really gotten this sweeper-type pitch down where it moves away to the right-hand corner of the plate as a righty pitcher. That is useful stuff, and it's helped neutralize some of those lefty bats. So that's very, very useful stuff for Jose Urquidy here. There aren't really a ton of lefties, though, that you should be that freaked out about here from the Toronto side. It's definitely going to be more righty power, and I think that still might be a little bit of an issue for him. Not reverse splits to the crazy extent, but I'm at least paying attention to it. It's on my radar. But I'd be looking at runs here because I don't think Urquidy is going to be continuing this kind of pace. And Chris Bassett, I'm legit concerned about him at this point. And Houston, not the get-right spot you would want to be. It's just terrible. It's a really bad spot. So I'm leaning over of 9. Got to look more into Urquidy, though, because I do think that there is an opportunity to target him here. But I don't want to have, 12 plays on your card on a 17-game slate? That seems a little egregious. So this one just barely outside the cut line. I'll revisit it tomorrow. We've been targeting a lot of pieces here in Coors Field for feels like the last 2 weeks. I know Pittsburgh they're up 1-0 here. That game just got started. They're going to the bottom of the first, guy on first. Yeah, I'm watching a little baseball here on the side. And I'm working, okay? I'm putting in that work for you. Don't worry. But I also NBA playoffs, early baseball. It doesn't get a whole lot better other than, again, I want to be winning bets for everybody. I think there's a good opportunity, though, for us in this one. I don't really like either pitcher, and that shouldn't surprise you. Vince Velasquez, I don't know what we're supposed to do here. And Jose Urena is just horrendous. He's one of the worst pitchers in baseball. But 12.5 for these two lineups, with the handedness that you're looking at, I might be taking crazy pills here with this one, and I get it. Pittsburgh, we've looked at Jack Sawinski, who's got a 60% hard hit percentage. Brian Reynolds, both sides of the plate, just been a stud with a 700 expected slugging. You got Andrew McCutchen sitting there, even right on right, he'll be all right. Kanan Smith-Njigba, his brother is going to be a top draft pick there for Ohio State. Looking forward to that one. But there's a lot of pieces from Pittsburgh that can be serviceable against Urena, and it wouldn't shock you whatsoever. But I'm just, for some reason, looking at an under here. And I can't believe I'm saying it because I've been targeting Urena, it seems like every single time out. And Vince Velasquez, I think he got very, very lucky. But I don't find Colorado that appealing against right-handed pitching. Now, we targeted Rich Hill in Pittsburgh early on here in this one. We'll see if Colorado can bring that to fruition with us with the lock play from Monday. Time will tell. I'm sure comment section will tell me what happens there too. But Vince Velasquez, primarily through all four-seamers, nothing looked that great. 93.5 miles per hour, though, was a tick up from his 2022 numbers. So I guess that's a little bit appealing for it. The slider seemed to be moving a little bit. The spin rate was definitely up on that pitch to 25.46. Just rotations per minute. Good talking with you. Just saying, 12.5 is a big number to be getting with these two lineups at the moment. So it's a tiny play on an under, and I don't love it, but I like it. It's pretty gross. This is definitely the grossest like play that I have on the board. If you don't want to add this one, I don't blame you. It's always a tough sledding here in Coors Field, and these are two terrible pitchers, and I'm not running away from it. But I think if they got the quick hook, it wouldn't surprise me either. And then you're running into bullpens from both teams primarily for the rest of the way, and you can play the handedness game against Pittsburgh. That's useful. So, under 12.5. Oh boy. Just grab your Pepto. And we head to Oakland next, and ooh, look at this. We're getting a little frisky to finish out the night here, and this guy, I can't believe how good he's been this season, but I'm buying into it. I bought into it after the first game, and we actually backed his strikeout prop on opening day. He came to fruition, and he came and brought some stuff in the arsenal. That is, of course, Marcus Stroman, a 252 expected slugging, averaging -0.3 for a launch angle. The ball is on the ground. It's not even getting hit hard on the ground. 38.1% hard hit percentage, a 28.2% K rate. And you want to roll out lefties against him like Brent Rooker, who you should roll out against him, of course. But this Ryan Noda fella, who's now called up and playing here for Oakland, I'm just telling you, I think he's going to be really good against lefties. He had the higher strikeout last year, or a higher strikeout rate against them last year. And now you get the Oakland bullpen bump. I love backing Marcus Stroman in this spot. And on the other side, I've brought it up before, but how much Waldichuk could a Waldichuk chuck if a Waldichuk could chuck wood? Not much, because he's not missing bats, that's for sure. I think Waldichuk's like wood, but 550 expected slugging, 15.1% K rate, 383 xWOBA, but everything is gross. And there is tons of power in the Chicago lineup. Patrick Wisdom. I wish Edwin Rios was better right now. He needs to start getting going. Ian Happ for sure. Trey Mancini. Cody Bellinger, the 452 expected slugging. Miss seeing him in Dodger blue. It's really weird watching him with the Cubs over the weekend. Gotta say that. Eric Hosmer's still terrible. But otherwise, this Cubs lineup, pretty good. Think I want to be targeting Waldichuk. Think I want to be backing Stroman. Yeah, -1.5 Chicago. You got to be laying a little bit of juice to get there. -105, though. Just fine with it. I think Chicago blitzes Oakland here on Tuesday. So fire it up. A lock play. You heard me. -1.5 with the Cubbies. Let's go. One more lock to go. And it is not in this one, although we do have a play, so let's talk through it. We've got Logan Gilbert, absolute stud in the making here. What isn't there to like from Seattle's Logan Gilbert? 237 xWOBA, really good against righties and lefties, 279 expected slugging, ball staying somewhat low, under 10-degree average launch angle. He's only 26. He's only getting better. He's found ways to limit hard contact, and if he does that, that four-seam slider curveball combination, even that split finger that's kind of his off pitch, has some interesting movement to it. I like everything that I see from Logan Gilbert. And yeah, I don't know. There were times that I thought he was targetable last season. No more if that hard hit rate is going to come down, especially pitching in the park he does against a team like Milwaukee that definitely has some lefty bats, but definitely has some strikeouts available to him. And then Colin Ria, this guy gets called up. He's filling in for some dudes, 6'5", 32-year-old. He ended up pitching a little bit in Japan, I believe it was. Four-seam fastball, sinker combination. He's now 32. He's had some crazy gaps in his major league career where he wasn't in the bigs from 2017 to 2019. Then he was in Japan. Yeah, Japan 2022. There you go. Really good first start. Can he keep it going? I'm not positive, but I think in this ballpark, with that four-seamer sinker combination, again, the cutter also being mixed in, another pitcher who goes to that sweeper that moves to that right-hand corner as a righty. I think he's an interesting spot here, especially with Seattle's just what's the word I'm looking for? Malfunctions? I don't even know. This is what happens sometimes. F it, we'll do it live. Seattle, they've not been as good as you were hoping. Jared Kelenic, Julio Rodriguez still really good. So that's enjoyable for them. Ty France still really good. They need some other pieces on the back half of that lineup to start panning out for them, though. That's for sure. Think the under is where you want to be looking at in this one. 8 is the number. I think that's a little bit high. I think Rhea can be serviceable, and I think Logan Gilbert's going to rock Milwaukee. So going to be a fun one, but under 8, small little play for me. 2 games to go. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell as we go to my other lock on the night here. It's the Atlanta Braves taking on the San Diego Padres. We're going back to Petco. Going to be fun stuff. And it's Blake Snell. Talked about it a couple times at this point. Are you starting to buy into the dip? I hope so. This is like the opposite of crypto. We're buying the actual dip. Something like that. I don't know the analogy I'm going for. I'm tired. 400 xWOBA, 527 expected slugging, 15.2% walk rate. If you watch him pitch, it's probably, if you're a Padres fan, the most frustrating experience you could ever imagine. I've enjoyed it because I just simply target him almost every single time out or take the under on his K props because, again, outside of opening day against Colorado where he still got rocked in that one, he has not been good. He goes too long into counts. He's now had 4 and 5 walks now his last 2, given up 3 home runs in those last 2, 6.92 ERA. I think he's got a lot of work ahead of him, and you do not want to be struggling facing some of these righties in the Atlanta Braves lineup. You dig? I think you do. Oh, and who's pitching for them? Oh, yeah, it's that Spencer Strider fellow, and we get a huge discount compared to what you would get if this game were in Atlanta. Oh, and we're also avoiding Fernando Tatis, who will still not be with this team yet. Thank the Lord. You know why? Because he is absolutely destroying AAA baseball right now. Like, we're talking hitting 500 with multiple jacks and like a WRC plus that doesn't even make sense. So enjoy that for the time being, because once he hits the ground running, Fernando Tatis is going to be a beast. Saw him in spring training. He was just ridiculous in Arizona. But I digress. Let's talk about Spencer Strider. He is just elite. 40.9% K rate. Walks have been a little bit of a concern for him too of late, but you know what he does? He has a 195 expected batting average compared to Blake Snell's 299. He gets to face a San Diego team that definitely has some guys from the left side. Jake Cronenworth. You get, of course, Matt Carpenter as well. It's been very serviceable from the left side. Juan Soto. Trent Grisham, all of them hit the ball really, really hard. But it's hard to hit the ball if you miss it. So there's that. I love backing Spencer Strider at this kind of a number. Think it's a lock. Think it's my second favorite play on the board. I'm going to have it in a parlay or two as well. And I'm not a parlay guy. Just throwing it out there. Want to get a little bit of extra value attached to Strider if I get the outing I'm expecting. Oh boy, oh boy. Saddle up. Atlanta gets it done in a big way. And our last game of the night. That's my way of saying that I don't have a play here. Tyler McGill, pretty decent starter here for the Mets that, you know, is kind of forced into duty going up against Clayton Kershaw. And I thought I would really like backing this Dodgers team at minus 165. But for some reason, it's not projecting out all that well for me. And I think part of that is that even with Clayton Kershaw, 11 and 10 ground balls the last 2, the ball's getting put in play. And that's a little bit worrisome for me. I get it. He's still Clayton Kershaw. I think you could turn it on and turn on the afterburners and increase that 23.3% K rate. But it's not that far off of a 20% K rate for Tyler McGill on the other side. And you get those righties. Tommy Pham starting to put it together here for the Mets, who just is going to be good. We saw him be really good with Cincinnati, San Diego at times. So there you go. Or Cincinnati. I said, yeah, whatever. Brandon Nimmo, left on left, not going to be as appealing. But Pete Alonso, 751 expected slugging and doing so much damage against lefties. That's a big bat to be avoiding. You got to say the same thing for McGill, a righty, going to be facing the likes of a couple of lefties. Jason Hayward, who's made massive improvements at the plate. Like, we're talking otherworldly improvements. James Outman now from the left. More of a hit man than an out man, that's for sure. And Max Muncy joining the party from the left side. Of course, Freddie Freeman too. My God, so good. So if I had to do anything here, I'd be leaning the Dodgers side, but minus 165 for some reason, not making the card, doesn't make the cut. Just a lean. Maybe I revisit this one tomorrow. Maybe I make a evening Atlanta, LA Dodger type play, but don't really carry the equal weight for me. So Dodgers money line, just going to be a lean as we get ourselves out of here. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays for Tuesday's slate. Check out Bet365. Great stuff in those 4 states: Colorado, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia. Make sure you check it out. Check out the premium Discord. Check out Odd Shopper. All of the great things that we have going over here for you sitting in that description box below. Alrighty, y'all. I'll be back on Wednesday with MLB and NBA. Until then, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Tuesday.